better technical performance, and a cheaper car with a less good technical performance. They both meet the technical requirements. The cutoff score is 60. Now the question is, which bid wins? Bid 1 is the more expensive one, differ by about a third. Bid 2 is the less technical one, again, difference about a third. Now, I want a show of hands. Who thinks the more expensive car will win? One person, 2, 3. Who thinks the less expensive car will win? The vast majority. Price is 4 times as important as technical score. Remember? So I can congratulate everybody that raised his hand with the less expensive car. Those that raised their hands belong to the vast majority of people that have or attribute to themselves some intelligence, saying, well, they differ, and of course the more expensive car is better, and but the difference is not that big, and well, price, there's a big difference, and also price counts 4 times as much as the technical score. So yes, you're mildly intelligent, and you're going with the vast majority of the people, right? So there's nothing wrong with answering, yes, we go for the less expensive car, because almost everybody does it. This is, by the way, also what's probably intended by the person that put out this tender. This is whatever every normal human being would do. But now, I didn't mention anything about a scoring rule. And, well, the cutoff I mentioned, they both make the cutoff, so that's not the issue. But the scoring rule. Now I'm going to introduce a very simple scoring rule. You remember, price gave me 80% and technical 20%. So I get 80 points, the maximum for price, if my price is 0, because that's the best price I can get. And then for every $1,000, I deduct 1 point. Now, on the technical side, I give the best I can get is 100 point score on technical, so I get 20 points, and 60 was the cutoff score, so I get 0 points. And it's all linear in between. If you do the calculations, here I have to deduct 18 points, I get 62. I have to deduct 13 points, I get 67. 80 is right between 60 and 100, so it gets you 10, and 68 gives you 4 points. And you do the calculations, and my God, the more expensive car wins. Why is that? What happens? What happens? This is counterintuitive, but this happens if you don't know the scoring rule. Because I'll try to explain in a simple picture, and that this kind of picture will keep reappearing today. This is called the score graph. Score graph. And it always gives you the score on this side, and on this side, sometimes it's price, sometimes it's technical, sometimes it's something else. So it's the criterion that you're judging on. Now what we have here for the price, I get 80 points at a price of 0. And then I go down to somewhere 80,000, and that gives me, this is the line, this is what's basically stated in the very first line here for price, right? Now what happens is that my prices are somewhere here, 13,000, 18,000. And I go up, and I get, what is it, 67 points, and I get 62 points, 67 and 62. This is what happens. Now, my choice of 0 at 80,000 points, at a price of 80,000, is a thing that the bidders didn't know. And if I would have not selected this 80,000, but I would have selected, say, 40,000 here, then the scoring would be quite different. Then it would be this difference, instead of this tiny difference of only 5 points, it would be a big difference of, say, 10 points. And yes, the cheaper car would have won. Take it to the extreme. If I would not let this thing end at 80,000, but I would have the thing end at 80 million, there would not be a difference at all in price. So if you don't give the scoring mechanism, I can make everybody win. It's just a tombola if you don't have the scoring mechanism. Now that's one lesson. And I don't want to entice you to do any bid rigging or whatever, but you can make everybody win. Which means something for you, but it also means something for the suppliers. Because I put up this, and not by accident, I said bid 1 and bid 2. Meaning, trying to indicate that this does not have to be 2 separate suppliers. It could be the very same supplier with the very same product, and he's just doubting to get the vehicles airlifted there or transported by sea. Right? So you're getting exactly the same product, and the supplier is faced with a choice: how do I get these vehicles there? And part of the technical score might be the delivery time, as indicated in there. Wow. This supplier is faced with that situation, and he has to decide, do I put in this bid or do I put in that bid? Now, if you don't tell him what you want, and basically what you want is telling him how these lines go. If you don't tell him what you want, you might not get your best bid. So you have to indicate to him, not to help him, but to help you to get the best bid. So it's shooting in your own foot if you're not indicating these lines. And of course, I do realize that if you're around the table with a requisitioner and you say, okay, we have to find a scoring rule for price and for technical, etc., that most of the requisitioners will say, this is difficult, but this is the job of somebody in procurement, to find out what the client really wants. And if you don't get it, then you might get bids that you don't like, that do not meet your best possibilities.